Hi guys, it's Tyler and welcome to my first YouTube video. I'm so excited to be making this video now and I really hope you guys enjoy. So today we're going to be looking at r/the 10th dentist. Now if you don't know what that is, it's basically like in those toothpaste commercials where they say 9 out of 10 dentists recommend this product. It's like the 10th dentist doesn't recommend the product. So it's people come onto this and they say their unpopular opinions that 9 out of 10 people wouldn't agree with. So I've got my laptop. I found 3 posts. I've just skimmed over them. I haven't properly read them, but I'm going to be going through them with you guys today, and we're going to decide whether or not we agree with these. The first one is eating with other people as a social interaction is weird. Alrighty, let's see if we agree with this. I mean, what the f am I supposed to do here? I'm eating. My mother would always say that dinner time is where you talk about your day. But how the f am I supposed to talk about my day when I'm trying to eat? Let me eat in peace without bugging me every 2 minutes with some questions. The second problem is that eating is gross. I'm taking food and shoving it into a hole in my face, grinding it into pulp, and then swallowing it into my stomach to digest. Not to mention the sound of people chewing is gross, and a lot of days where I'm eating with other people, I almost want to put earbuds in so I don't need to hear it. And third, which should address anything people raise, like, well, you're supposed to socialize while eating, is that eating should be efficient. While I sit down to eat, my goal is to eat as fast as I can without choking on my food and then leaving to get back to whatever I was doing. Maybe it's just because I'm an antisocial weirdo who hates being around her family because of a whole mess of reasons, but eating as a way of socializing is just stupid to me. Alrighty. I'm gonna have to go with disagree on this one. For me personally, I love eating with my friends. Literally, like whenever I go out and hang out with my friends in town, you can trust we're getting a bite to eat. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna eat it, and we're gonna talk at the same time. I kind of think that this person might have like misophonia or something, like that thing where certain sounds just piss you off because they're saying like they don't like the sound of eating, so they want to wear earphones, which I think might play into the reason why they don't think eating should be a social interaction, as well as obviously they say that they have problems with their family, and a lot of the time eating dinner as a family, like you all come together, so maybe they think it's weird that way. But me personally, like I don't have misophonia and I don't have any problems with my family, so I'm gonna have to disagree with this one. I'm gonna have a little look at what some of the comments are saying. Oh, somebody says you might be on the spectrum. I think I agree with that one too. Again, what I said with the misophonia, a lot of people with autism have sensory issues, especially with like sounds, so that could be true. And especially, I think also when they say that they want to eat food as efficiently as possible, as quickly as possible without choking, I think that might play into the on the spectrum thing as well. So yeah, I'm just going to have to go with that first one. I'm going to say I disagree. I don't think eating as a social interaction is weird. I actually quite enjoy eating as a social interaction. Anyways, now on to the next one. This one I might get a little heated over, so bear that in mind. David Attenborough's aspirated, overly dramatic narration style ruins modern nature documentaries. This is going to be fun. I know he's a national treasure. I know he's been doing this for decades and earned his legendary status, but I'm just going to say it. David Attenborough's narration style has become completely unlistenable. Wow. As a biology teacher, every time I open an engaging wildlife video, the experience is stained by his aspirated, over-the-top voice. He has a lot of dramatic pauses per story, and it genuinely sounds like he's fighting for every breath he takes. I realize he's very old at this point. Wow, that's mean. The delivery has become so forced and exaggerated that it completely overshadows the actual animals on screen. Just once, I would welcome a normal, even boring voice of someone who can describe a predator hunting without trying to turn it into a Shakespearean drama. At this point, it is purely because of his aura, his persona, and admittedly deserved worship he gets from those masses that he's getting these gigs. Strictly looking at the audio delivery, he should no longer be voicing these nature videos. Wow. I'm going to have to go disagree with that one as well. I really like the way that he narrates his nature documentaries, and I think that's the main reason people actually watch them. Like, if he wasn't narrating, if it was just completely silent, or if he was narrating and it wasn't in his like typical Attenborough like voice, I don't think people would watch it. So I'm gonna go disagree with that one. And I understand maybe, like, as a biology teacher, you probably watch a lot of these nature documentaries, and you probably watch the same ones over and over and over again. So I can understand why it might get irritating or annoying. You might not like it. But me personally, as somebody who is not a biology teacher, I love it. I love the way that he narrates it, and they actually make it engaging. We're gonna have a little look at some of the comments. Oh, here we go. We've got one that says, the pauses are to align his story with the video. I think that's meant to say his story. You can't rush nature. I agree with that. I think, yeah, it makes more sense to have those pauses to align the story with the video. I feel like if he was just going and he wasn't taking those breaks, it would just get too much. Okay, here we go. This person's really mad about this. How dare you? He speaks like that to let you absorb the knowledge. Like, what do you want, man? A cocoa melon paste documentary? That man has been knighted twice. I friggin' love that guy so much. And they actually said friggin'. Yeah, I agree, Fearless Nope. Somebody replied and said, why would he be knighted twice? Once knighted, you're a knight. Is he a double knight now? What the hell? Fair enough. Another person who's quite mad about this. You are a monster. What's next? Puppies are too cute. Let's grind them in a huge mill. Wow. Okay. They really didn't like that take. Okay, now we're getting on to the third and final 10th dentist take. I miss my music being curated for me. I was a teenager in the 70s. I was hugely into music and was always on the lookout for new bands which had a different sound. I loved all the classic stuff of that era, but I was always on the lookout for something different. I was one of the first people to get into bands like the Talking Heads, Elvis Costello, never heard of that before, Joe Jackson, The Cars, the Ramones, Blondie, etc. I used to pride myself on being able to find new bands who were great. I've never heard of any of those people, by the way. But then again, I was a teenager in the 2020s, so there's a little bit of an age gap there. But I know the only reason I could even find those bands was because they went through a rigorous vetting process. Prove yourself in the bars, prove that the music you play can have some appeal beyond your local scene, prove that you're able to take the grind for performing 6 nights a week without flaking out, prove a lot of things. If you prove all that, then you're signed to a label, and the label will publicize you for at least 2 albums until you prove either you have it or you don't. The only reason that young me got to be cool and find new bands was because someone had scouted the band, found them to be good enough to deserve a contract, signed them, and let the publicity machine go to town. All the new bands I found and loved already run the gauntlet to get to the point where I would discover them. Nowadays, it doesn't seem to work that way. Every schmo you know has a YouTube channel and is trying to get you to listen to whatever the hell they produce. But you know, they all kind of suck. I'm not doubting their talent or their skill. They just have not proven themselves. They have not proven that they have it that compels people to listen. And mostly, they are talented but uninteresting. It would be like if some dude started a baseball league and tried to get you to watch. I mean, yeah, it was a wicked play, and you made it to the second base that one time. But does that make you a talent I want to watch? Baseball players and other athletes have to progress and prove themselves over and over. Without the crucible of constantly proving that they belong, there is no reason to watch them. Unfortunately, music does not happen organically anymore. Instead of scouring bars and finding talent, it seems like the machine wants to create artists out of a whole cloth, then tell us to like them. This is longer than I intended, and I have a lot more things to say, but the bottom line is I miss the days when I knew if I was listening to a band, a lot of people had been involved in the process of making their music available to me. I could expect that there was something to recommend them, even if I didn't like them. You know what? I agree. Honestly, I agree with that. I was not a teenager in the 70s, so I'm not quite on their same level of understanding what they mean by that. But I will say, I do think a lot of artists nowadays kind of just thrown into the spotlight, and they're not really interesting. Somber, for example. I don't like Somber, I'm gonna say. I don't like Somber. And Baby No Money. I don't like them. Personally, if you like them, great. Go for it. I don't care. Enjoy the music you want to enjoy. But in my personal opinion, I think they suck. And I feel like if they did have to, perform at bars and then prove themselves over and over again like this person is saying, I think that maybe they wouldn't suck as much. Or their music just wouldn't be available. And yeah, I'm going to go with agree on that one. I'm going to read some of the comments and see if people agree. I feel like artists being selected based on the aesthetic preferences of a scout or executive is the least organic way for music to happen. Yeah. Somebody's replied to this comment, so I'm going to read that one as well. Yep, there is a band called Paradox right now. They're a pop punk band. Their shtick is that they're young, attractive black men. Black men are very rare in this genre. Okay. They're talented enough, but the music is very generic, uninspired corporate slop. Sounds like AI music. Oh, AI music is another thing that I hate and despise, but I'm not even gonna get into that. Conversely, there is a band called Action/Adventure. They are a pop punk band and they're all black men. One of them looks to be mixed race, but still not my passing. Don't think you had to say that, but anyways. However, they are not conventionally attractive. Their music is some of the best pop punk music I've heard in 10 years. Absolutely fantastic. The Paradox has over 1 million combined views. Action/Adventure has less than 1 million. Wow, I think that's a really good example. And yet I do think aesthetics do play a huge part in whether or not you get popular nowadays. For example, I'm going to go Sabrina Carpenter. Now look, me personally, I don't listen to Sabrina Carpenter's music. I'm not going to say she's bad. She's a very talented singer. She's very good at what she does, but she has a very, very, very specific aesthetic that is quite big at the moment, and I think that is a very large reason as to why she got so big, or why she's getting so big right now. I know she's been making music for a while, and she has been quite popular, but I think with the aesthetic she's currently having is a big part of the reason why she is so big right now. Same with Olivia Rodrigo. She has sort of changed aesthetics from Driver's License. I think Driver's License worked so well because the aesthetic fit the time so well. It was very, very 2020s aesthetic. It was very like TikTok aesthetic, and not that that's a bad thing. And again, I like Olivia Rodrigo songs. I actually do quite enjoy Olivia Rodrigo. I don't go out of my way to listen to her, but I know a few of her songs. I know the words to a couple of her songs, and I do like them. But I will say, like, her music worked so well because it very much fit the aesthetic of the time. Like, her music from the 2020s fit the aesthetic from the 2020s. Her music now fits the aesthetic right now. And I think, yes, it is very hard to time that perfectly, to make sure that you have the right aesthetic to get popular at a time. But I feel like sometimes the aesthetics is sort of like valued more so than the actual talent of the artist. Because yeah, it's one thing to look at an artist and think, oh, I like the way that you look, I like the way that you present yourself, I like the way that you like your stage presence. But if they have all that but they're not very good at, like, their music isn't very good, it feels very cookie cutter, cut and paste, same thing over and over again, I feel like, yeah, the aesthetic isn't enough to just cover that. I'm gonna see if there's any more comments. Oh, okay. This is somebody who disagrees. LMAO, there was literally a mountain of overproduced, label-backed garbage back in the 70s and 80s. You just forgot about it. The gauntlet still exists. It's called the internet and social media. You're in the information age now, and I don't think there's any less garbage today than there was during your time period. It's just people can easily record and release now. Music has been essentially democratized, and being odd or niche can help find global listeners now. Think you just don't care about music discovery, LMAO. You just want to get marketed to. There isn't anything wrong with that, but be honest with yourself. Upvoted because hard disagree. Wow. I mean, that's one way to look at it. I mean, obviously, again, I was not alive during the 70s and the 80s. I was born in the 2000s. So I'm not too well versed on what the music scene was like back then. So maybe that's part of the reason why I agree with this take. But I mean, that is an interesting perspective to take. I still want to say that I agree with this take. But yeah, that's an interesting thing to think about. Oh well, guys, that is the end of my very first YouTube video. This is really exciting. I know you guys probably aren't as excited as me about this, but this is something that's been in the works for a little while, and I'm finally getting to recording my first video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Comment your thoughts down below. Did you agree with these takes? Did you disagree with these takes? If you have any 10th Dentist takes, feel free to let me know. I'll probably respond to every comment because I don't anticipate a lot of comments. Well, yeah, that's all I have for today. and I'll see you guys in the next one.